What if I told you that the car you're driving right now could lose more than half its value in the next 12 months? Some models have already started freefalling, and it's happening faster than you think. We're witnessing something we haven't seen since the Great Recession. More than 7 million Americans can't keep up with their car payments. And the biggest shock? Several 2023-2024 models are dropping in value at a pace that defies logic. A luxury SUV that once sold for $100,000 is now struggling to fetch $35,000. A $64,000 Toyota that dealers refuse to take on trade-in. Today, I'm taking you inside the list of 15 vehicles that have collapsed in value the fastest. And if one of them is sitting in your garage, you absolutely need to watch this until the end. So what caused these once popular models to turn into financial liabilities in just a year? Let's start with the first one on the list, and the real reason its value is crashing harder than anyone expected. Number 15, the 2024 Tesla Cybertruck. This was supposed to be Elon's crown jewel, the first truck in history that would increase in value like a collectible. But instead of becoming a rolling investment, it turned into one of the biggest depreciation crashes the industry has seen in years. Early buyers were convinced they'd strike gold. And at first, it looked like they were right. Some Cybertrucks were flipping for $150,000 in late 23. But then reality hit hard. Within 2 years, values collapsed by 50%. The hype evaporated overnight. The bubble burst faster than anyone predicted. Tesla ramped up production at record speed. By 2025, dealerships were drowning in inventory, nearly 3-month supply of unsold Cybertrucks just sitting on lots. Once early adopters got their trucks, demand didn't just slow down, disappeared. And the trade-in numbers are brutal. Owners with low-mileage Foundation Series trucks, the ones that originally cost $100,000, are being offered just $65,000. That's a 35% loss in a single year. One owner with 32,000 miles, he was offered $60,000. For a truck that was marketed as a future collector's item, that's devastating. And here's the part that really matters. If a vehicle as hyped, as iconic, and as future-proof as the Cybertruck can collapse this fast, then any model can. And the rest of this list proves it. And if you think the Cybertruck's collapse was bad, wait until you see what's happening to a luxury SUV that costs nearly the same, yet is built on technology more than a decade old. Number 14, the 2024 Infiniti QX80. A luxury SUV that still rides on a platform from 2011. And unfortunately, it shows. This is one of the fastest depreciating full-size SUVs on the market, dropping nearly 50% from its original $75,000 price tag. That means owners are watching $37,500 vanish in less than 2 years. Underneath the chrome and leather, the QX80 is essentially an aging Nissan Patrol at heart. The tech feels dated, the ride feels old school, and the fuel economy? Let's just say it belongs to another decade. Even dealers admit it. One QX80 sold for 46% less after just 2 years, and they described that as competitive. That alone should tell you everything. Infiniti as a brand has been struggling, closing dealerships, cancelling models, and losing market share. Buyers can see a full redesign coming, which instantly makes the current model feel old the moment you drive it off the lot. And with gas prices constantly shifting, that thirsty V8 becomes a financial burden. People run the numbers, fuel costs, maintenance, depreciation, and they walk away. After 5 years, the QX80 keeps only 1/3 of its value, and half of that loss happens almost immediately within the first 2 years. In other words, it's a luxury SUV with luxury pricing, but economy car resale. But the QX80 isn't the only luxury SUV crashing this hard. Number 13 is a model people trusted for years, until its true long-term costs finally caught up. Number 13, the 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQB. The compact luxury EV that proves even a Mercedes badge can't protect you from brutal depreciation. This model has crashed nearly 50% from its original $55,000 price tag, wiping out $27,500 of value almost overnight. So what went wrong? Mercedes built far too many EQ models at once, and dealers were drowning in inventory. To get them off the lot, they started handing out massive discounts, up to $11,000 off brand new EQBs. And when new cars sell that cheap, used prices don't just drop, they collapse. The bigger issue? The EQB wasn't engineered as a true EV from the start. It's basically a gas-powered GLB with a battery pack stuffed inside. That means you get a modest 240-mile range, weak efficiency, and EV performance that feels like a temporary solution, not a long-term investment. And because the EQB didn't qualify for US tax credits, Mercedes tried to force demand by offering ultra-aggressive leases, often with $10,000 plus in incentives. But that created a new problem. 2 years later, thousands of cheap lease returns hit the market at the same time. Suddenly, the EQB wasn't a luxury EV. It was just another discounted used car no one wanted to pay full price for. And if a discounted luxury EV losing half its value shocked you, the next one is even worse. Because this time, it's a family SUV with problems so serious, some owners literally couldn't keep it running on the freeway. Number 12, the 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. A model that's taken one of the hardest reputation hits in the entire SUV segment. Consumer Reports ranked it among the least reliable vehicles for 2025, and its resale numbers prove it. This SUV has already lost 51% of its original $54,052 price, which means owners are staring at nearly $28,000 evaporating in just 2 years. But here's where the story gets serious. A couple in Michigan is now suing Stellantis over a brand new Grand Cherokee 4xe that became completely undrivable. The owner described the moment it failed. It just shut off. I was on the freeway. Thankfully, it was 2 p.m., so I could pull over before traffic got heavy. And their nightmare didn't stop there. During a 39-month lease, their brand new 4xe spent 8 months stuck at dealerships. They said every time one issue got repaired, another one popped up. This isn't a one-off incident, it's part of a pattern. Stellantis has already recalled over 91,000 Grand Cherokee 4xe models for sudden loss of power. But by the time recalls began, the damage to Jeep's reputation and its resale value was already irreversible. When reliability becomes a gamble, buyers step back, and the market responds instantly. And Jeep isn't the only brand in trouble. The next SUV proves that even a stylish, great-to-drive model can become a financial trap when the brand behind it is fighting for survival. Number 11. The 2024 Alfa Romeo Stelvio, an SUV that turns heads on the road but turns your wallet inside out when it's time to sell. Alfa Romeo builds some of the most beautiful and engaging SUVs on the market, but they also produce some of the fastest depreciating vehicles you can buy today. The Stelvio has nosedived 52% from its $46,500 starting price, making it one of the steepest drop-offs in its class. One 2024 Stelvio Veloce with just 274 miles sold at auction for $32,500, almost 40% below its original $53,120 MSRP. Brand new, barely driven, yet already worth nearly half. And it gets worse. New Stelvios rarely sell at MSRP because Alfa Romeo constantly pushes aggressive incentives. Low-interest leases, heavy cash rebates, anything to move inventory. When dealerships take $5,000 to $7,000 off brand new units, the used market collapses instantly. Then there's reliability. Alfa Romeo consistently ranks near the bottom industry-wide, and that reputation destroys confidence. After just 3 years, the Stelvio retains only 37% to 39% of its value, making it one of the weakest performers in the entire luxury SUV category. There's another problem too. In a segment ruled by BMW, Audi and Mercedes, the Stelvio is the odd one out. Alfa has a tiny dealer network, low brand awareness, and a much smaller customer base. To stay competitive, Stelvios have to sell significantly cheaper than the German rivals, and that pushes resale value even lower. It's a stunning SUV, no doubt, but financially, it's one of the riskiest bets on the market. And if you thought luxury depreciation was scary, The next EV shows what happens when an entire rental car giant unintentionally destroys a model's resale value overnight. Number 10. The 2024 Polestar 2. The EV that was supposed to challenge Tesla, but instead became one of the biggest resale collapses in the electric car market. This model has already hemorrhaged 53% of its original $50,000 price, making it one of the fastest falling EVs you can buy. A big part of the problem started with Hertz. They purchased up to 65,000 Polestar 2s for their rental fleets, trying to ride the EV boom. But when the used EV market started crashing, Hertz panicked and began dumping thousands of barely used Polestars at fire sale prices. And when thousands of low-mileage cars hit the market at once, resale values don't just fall, they collapse. Most buyers don't even know what Polestar is. Is it Volvo, a Chinese brand, a tech startup? That brand confusion kills confidence and kills resale even faster. Then you have the limited service network. EV buyers already worry about long-term maintenance, and Polestar hasn't built the support system that Tesla or legacy brands have. That uncertainty pushes resale value even lower. The numbers are brutal. Many 2021-2022 Polestar 2s that cost $60,000 new now sell for the low 30,000s. A 50% wipeout. Kelley Blue Book reports a 57% drop at just 3 years old. Even Polestar's own CEO warned that the growing wave of used EVs could tank resale values across the industry. And if the Polestar 2's collapse surprised you, wait until you see what happened to Audi's first electric SUV. A model that promised premium performance but ended up delivering one of the steepest value crashes in the entire EV segment. Number 8. The 2024 Nissan Ariya. The EV that was supposed to mark Nissan's comeback, but instead became one of the fastest falling electric SUVs in the US market. The Ariya has already plummeted 54% from its original $52,000 price, and it happened in record time. Here's the biggest problem. Because the Ariya is built in Japan, it didn't qualify for the $7,500 federal EV tax credit. That instantly made it $7,500 more expensive than its American-built rivals. And buyers simply walked away. But the real blow came next. Nissan officially discontinued the Ariya in the US. There will be no 2026 model. And when an automaker kills a nameplate after just 1 year, resale values don't just drop, they fall off a cliff. The real-world listings are brutal. An Ariya Engage A2D, $48,500 new, selling for $22,300 after just 1 year. A top-trim Ariya Platinum Plus, originally $63,700, now listed at $29,900. That's a 53% value wipeout in 12 months, one of the worst for any modern EV. The Ariya isn't a bad electric SUV. It's quiet, smooth, well-built, but it no longer matters. Once Nissan pulled the plug, the Ariya became obsolete overnight. In the US market, it's officially a discontinued EV, and the resale market is treating it exactly like that. And if a discontinued Nissan losing half its value sounds brutal, the next one is on an entirely different level. Because this time, we're talking about a 6-figure luxury EV that turned into the fastest depreciating car in America. Number 7. The 2023 Lucid Air. A luxury EV with 500 miles of range that once looked like it would redefine the future. Instead, it's become one of the most brutal financial losses in the electric car market. The Air has already collapsed 55% from its $120,000 price tag. That's a staggering $66,000 gone in what feels like the blink of an eye. Lucid is burning through cash at an unsustainable pace and still struggling to scale production. And when a company's survival becomes a question mark, buyers panic. They start asking, what if warranty repairs disappear? What if software updates stop? What if parts become impossible to find? Most people won't gamble 6 figures on a car when they don't know if the automaker will be around long enough to support it. And the real example sales are even more shocking. A 2022 Lucid Air Grand Touring, MSRP, $155,000, sold for just $68,000 after 1 year, an $86,500 loss. Another Air with only 5,000 miles, originally $141,000, went for $61,000. Some lightly driven Lucid Airs are now listed below $50,000, less than half their original cost. One owner even calculated his Lucid was losing $200 a day, every single day, just sitting in his garage. It's no wonder many are calling it the ultimate depreciation machine. And if a six-figure Lucid losing over $80,000 wasn't enough, the next model proves that even legendary German luxury brands aren't safe from catastrophic EV depreciation. Number 6. The 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQE, the electric equivalent of the E-Class that was supposed to bring S-Class luxury into the EV era. Instead, it became one of the fastest-falling luxury sedans on the market. The EQE has already lost 56% of its original $76,000 price, wiping out a brutal $42,580. On paper, it promised premium comfort and cutting-edge design. In reality, buyers got cramped rear seating, interior materials that felt oddly cheap for the price, and polarizing styling that many simply didn't warm up to. In the UK, things looked even worse. An EQE 350 priced at $89,000 was projected to fall to $49,500 in just 12 months, nearly identical to the resale price of a used gas E-Class. That comparison alone scared off a lot of potential buyers. The EQE clearly represented Mercedes' early learning curve in the EV world. Range was merely 260-300 miles, falling short of expectations. Charging speeds lagged behind competitors, and software issues made the experience feel unfinished. Because it didn't qualify for US tax credits, Mercedes resorted to aggressive lease deals with huge incentives to move inventory. But when those leases expired, the used market was suddenly flooded with low-mileage EQEs, all selling at dramatically reduced prices. A luxury EV with a luxury badge, an economy car resale. But the top 5 is where things get truly shocking, because the next SUV is losing value so fast that even longtime fans of the brand are walking away. Number 5. The 2024 Volkswagen ID.4. The EV that Volkswagen promised would bring electric driving to the masses. Instead, it turned into a resale disaster that wiped out consumer confidence. The ID.4 has already lost 56% of its original $40,000 value, a staggering collapse for a vehicle positioned as the people's EV. And a huge part of the problem comes down to one thing: the software. Owners complained about glitchy, lag-prone screens, capacitive controls that barely responded, and updates that often created new issues instead of fixing old ones. The infotainment system became so infamous that many early buyers regretted their purchase within months. When tech frustrations spread, demand vanished. Meanwhile, Volkswagen was ramping up production at its Tennessee factory. The goal was to flood the market with affordable EVs, and that's exactly what happened. Literally. Supply massively outpaced demand, and dealers were forced to offer deep discounts just to move inventory. But then came the knockout punch. Tesla cut Model Y prices. Suddenly, a brand new Model Y cost almost the same as a used ID.4. And when buyers see a choice between a discounted Tesla and a glitchy ID.4, within the first year, ID.4 resale values were already down 33%, making it one of the worst performing vehicles across all segments, electric or gasoline. The ID.4 was supposed to democratize EV ownership. Instead, it proved a painful truth in today's market. You can't fix bad software with good intentions, and the used car market never forgives a flawed first impression. But if you think things can't get worse, the next SUV on this list proves you wrong, because this one loses value even faster, and from a brand nobody expected to crash. Number 4. The 2024 Nissan Leaf. The EV that once led the electric revolution, but today has become one of the most dramatic cautionary tales in the entire market. The Leaf has now lost 58% of its original value, a collapse so steep that it places it among the worst performing EVs on the resale charts. The core issue? The Leaf still uses passive air cooling for its battery, a system that doesn't actively manage heat. In hot climates, this design leads to accelerated battery degradation, and used buyers know exactly what that means. They're buying an EV with a weakened battery and an uncertain remaining lifespan, and the resale market responds to that reality immediately. But the final blow is even bigger. Nissan is officially discontinuing the Leaf, replacing it with a new EV crossover. And when a model is declared dead, its value doesn't just decline, it collapses. Parts become harder to source. Support steadily fades. Confidence evaporates. The Leaf deserves respect. It pioneered affordable electric vehicles and helped define the segment. But in 2024, it's no longer viewed as a forward-looking EV, it's seen as a relic, a chapter of EV history that's closing fast. And if a discontinued pioneer like the Leaf can lose nearly 60% of its value, the next model will shock you even more, because it's from a brand that was once considered untouchable. Number 3. The 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV, the flagship electric SUV that was meant to represent the future of Mercedes luxury. Instead, it's become one of the most disastrous depreciation stories in the entire EV market. This model has already dropped an unbelievable 61% from its original $110,000 price tag. Low-mileage EQS SUVs were selling for $60,000 after just 18 months, almost half of what buyers paid. For a six-figure luxury SUV, buyers expected S-Class refinement. What they got instead was surprisingly cheap interior plastics, a cramped and uncomfortable third row, and an over-designed tech interface that annoyed more than impressed. And that was only the beginning. Like many automakers, Mercedes badly misjudged EV demand and built far more EQ models than the market was willing to buy. Dealers were left sitting on piles of unsold inventory, and in desperation, they slashed prices across the board. Then came Tesla's massive price cuts, instantly making many competing EVs non-competitive. Mercedes reacted by dumping inventory, pushing aggressive incentives, and heavily subsidizing leases just to move the EQS SUV off lots. But there was another major problem. Because the EQS SUV is imported and expensive, it didn't qualify for federal tax credits. That forced Mercedes to lean even harder on lease incentives. When those leases expired, the used market was suddenly flooded with low-mileage EQS SUVs selling at rock-bottom prices. Losing 67,100 in 2 years isn't normal depreciation. It's financial annihilation. And just when you think you've seen the worst, the next SUV proves that even mainstream family haulers can lose value faster than exotic cars. Number 2. The 2024 Maserati Levante, the SUV that proves luxury badges don't protect you from catastrophic depreciation. In fact, this might be the single worst value loss story in the entire premium segment. The Levante has shed up to 70% of its value, depending on trim, falling from its original $92,000, $130,000 price tag to shockingly low numbers. That's $90,000 evaporated, and for many owners who financed, they went underwater the moment they drove off the lot. Why does it fall so hard? Maserati has consistently ranked dead last in reliability, and the Levante is no exception. The brand tries to position itself between Porsche and BMW, but falls short in tech, build quality, refinement, and performance consistency. And 2024 makes things worse. It's the Levante's final model year. Maserati officially ended the lineup, turning it into yet another discontinued luxury SUV, a death sentence for resale value. One long-term study shows the Levante losing 74% of its value within 5 years, with most of that destruction happening in the first 24 months. The Levante uses a Ferrari-derived engine, something that should increase desirability. Instead, its resale value performs worse than a budget economy car. But nothing, and I mean nothing, comes close to the number one vehicle on this list. If you think losing $90,000 hurts, wait until you see the SUV that's practically turning into scrap value before its second birthday. And finally, at number 1, the 2023 to 2024 Toyota Mirai, the single worst performing vehicle in America when it comes to resale. And honestly, One of the most shocking automotive failures in recent years. The Mirai hasn't just depreciated, it has imploded. We're talking about a staggering 77% loss from its original $64,000 price tag. Used Mirais are now commonly listed for $7,000 to $10,000, and some dealers have offered as little as $1,000 on trade-in. One dealership even refused to take a Mirai altogether. And that raises the big question. How does Toyota, the brand famous for bulletproof reliability and top-tier resale, end up creating the most worthless car in the entire country? The answer is hydrogen. Hydrogen fueling stations are disappearing. Even in California, the only state with meaningful infrastructure, stations are shutting down due to high operating costs and constant reliability issues. That leaves owners with cars they literally cannot refuel. And when they can refuel, hydrogen costs over $36 per kilogram. A full tank is around $180, which is almost 3 times the cost per mile of gasoline. Operating costs are insane, assuming you're even lucky enough to find a working station. New Mirai buyers originally received massive incentives, $15,000 worth of free hydrogen, a $7,500 federal credit, plus additional state rebates. That brought the real price down to the low $40,000 for a $64,000 car. But used buyers? They don't get any of that. So the used Mirai market has been forced to price these cars under $10,000 just to attract attention. Toyota's big bet on hydrogen simply didn't pay off. What was supposed to be a visionary step into the future has now been exposed as a technological dead end. And the market is responding accordingly. Many 1 to 2-year-old Mirais in California, the only place they can realistically operate, are now selling for $7,000 to $10,000, representing up to an 85% value collapse. The Mirai isn't just a niche vehicle anymore. It's a niche within a niche, one that almost nobody wants and even fewer can realistically use. And there you have it, the #1 most catastrophic depreciation story in America. So there you have it, 15 cars that went from showroom shine to near worthless in under 2 years. From the Cybertruck's broken hype cycle to the Mirai's hydrogen dead end, these models prove one harsh truth about today's market. New doesn't guarantee value, and a high price tag doesn't guarantee a smart buy. Some of the most advanced, most expensive vehicles on paper turned out to be the biggest financial traps in reality. I'm curious, which one shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts below. I read every single comment, and your insights help shape future videos on this channel. And if this breakdown saved you money or opened your eyes to what's really happening in the industry, hit that like button. It pushes this video to more car owners who need to hear it. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the models, trends, and hidden truths reshaping the automotive world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.